Well, hello. Good evening. Welcome to another episode of On the Cutting Room Floor. I'm the host, Tony Ray Harvey, and yes, I am podcasting from the southwest part of Sacramento, Greenhaven pocket area. So let's get right down into it. Peace in. Let's get into it. Sacramento Kings lost tonight in the back-to-back to the New Orleans Pelicans. Christian James C.J. McCollum. Christian James C.J. McCollum scored 37 of his 43 points in the second half to guide the New Orleans Pelicans to a 140-133 triumph over the Sacramento Kings, and they end a 10-game losing stretch. That is the Pelicans. Christian James, who thought 11 years ago, 2013, no, 12 years, going on 12 years ago, thought that he was going to be a king in a 2013 NBA draft, which the Kings had the number 7 pick, I want to say. But the Kings, they chose Ben. The Kings, they chose Ben McLemore with that pick. Now, from my understanding, Christian James C.J. McCollum was told that he was going to be selected out of Lehigh University, Pennsylvania, in a little town called Bethlehem, 72 miles north of Philadelphia, that he was going to be a king. And he wasn't. And it appears that every time that he plays the king, I don't care if whatever team he played, if they're 1-81 and they playing against the Kings and he's in uniform, he's going to play. He is going to play. And he's going to give it his all, because he gave it his all tonight. He had 6 points in the second half, and then he just went off. Matter of fact, in that win, overtime, may I not forget, it was an overtime victory for the Pelicans, if I did not say. He scored 3 3-pointers. So they outscored the Kings 13-7, 13-6 in that quarter. He had 3 3-pointers in there. 3 3-pointers. Christian James C.J. McCollum, he had 21 points in the third quarter. 21 points in the third quarter. Now, the Kings beat the Pelicans last night, 119-111, okay, to win their third straight game. So they had a little momentum going in there to Smoothie King Center in New Orleans, adjacent to the Mercedes Dome where they play football, where the New Orleans Saints play football. They had the momentum. They easily could have took this and had 4 games going into the All-Star break with 3 of those games against the New Orleans Pelicans since last Saturday. One. So they have played the Pelicans 3 times in the last 6 days. And they played them 4 times in the last 6 days, and they won 3. Matter of fact, they're 3-1 on the season against the Pelicans. Pelicans just seem to win when it just, we could talk about last season, they beating the Kings, but Christian James McCollum, I remember his workout. Now, I hate to say I have a disdain for saying I when it comes to journalism, but this is a digital commentary, so I am going to say I. I was in that gym after his workout, which was at the old practice facility in North Natomas, which was also adjacent to Arco Arena. That building is still standing. As we know, Arco Arena is gone. And I remember talking to this young man in the summer of 2013. And I do remember how the coaches and the trainers and everybody was high on this kid. I do remember that. And I do remember thinking that this was going to be the guy that they were going to select with their pick. But they took Ben McLemore. They did. He took Ben McLemore. Now, well, interesting to me because if you hear C.J. McCollum, and I do have a recent video when he was here at Go to One Center this past weekend. I think that was February the 6th when the Kings beat the New Orleans Pelicans here at Go to One Center. As usual, I go to the opposing locker room, the opposing team locker room. Always try to go there. Call it balanced reporting. The bloggers don't think about it like that. Just the Sacramento Kings. I thought I'd throw that in there. But what I'm getting at too, because I try to talk to him every time that he comes to Sacramento. That's Christian C.J. McCollum. Fine young man, professional, articulate, serious about his business and his family. He graduated with a journalism degree. Back in 2013, when we were talking to him, it was like he was asking us questions. He was doing this research. C.J. McCollum, Christian James McCollum, was asking us, the press, the local media questions. Sharp young man. But what happens, whatever happened, Ben McLemore, who was projected to be a high pick, much higher than 7 if I'm not mistaken, he fell. He was falling those first few draft picks, and he fell down to number 7, and the Kings felt that he would be the guy because he was probably projected to go 5 or higher in that draft. He did not. He fell to the Kings. The Kings took him. But that spot, if I'm not mistaken, that was indeed supposed to have been Christian James C.J. McCollum, and it wasn't. Ben McLemore is not even in the league anymore. He, I think he's playing overseas. So, bless him and bless his heart. Whatever's going down with him, because yeah. I'm trying to figure it out. Where is Ben right now? Okay, yep, he was drafted in the 2013 NBA draft by the Sacramento Kings. He is playing basketball. I want to say it looks like Italy, if I'm not mistaken. He's overseas, no doubt about that. But he's not in the league. And he hasn't been in the league for a couple years now. I think the last team he played was with the Los Angeles Lakers. But yeah, yep. And if you go a little bit further, because we'll talk a little bit about this game, no doubt about that. Let's straighten this up here. 2013 draft, that is. I don't know why this is not doing that. Yes, Ben McLemore went to the Sacramento Kings with the 7th pick out of Kansas. He was a freshman. He only spent 1 year there. And brother Christian James McCollum out of Lehigh University, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, was picked up by the Portland Trail Blazers with the 10th pick. So he fell to number 10. So I always think that he just always going to carry that with him, especially in the league, especially when it comes to the Sacramento Kings. Oh, I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to show you each and every time I have an opportunity, I'm going to show you that you should have drafted me, especially when you conveyed to me that I was going to be a Sacramento King that year. And you took Ben McLemore, who was no longer in the league. No longer in the league. Okay? So you want to go with the guy who only had 1 year at Kansas instead of the senior who played at Lehigh and had an illustrious career there. Yes, he did. He did. Matter of fact, I'm seeing here though, this young man is the president of the NBA Players Association, which is a union. Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Has he? He's been to multiple playoffs with Portland. Because that was his team before then. As I said, the team that drafted him. But yeah, Christian James McCollum. He's the man. He's the man. He made 16 of 25 shots from the field, 7 of 12 in three-point territory, and 4 of 6 at the foul line in 41 minutes. He scored 21 points in the third quarter by his lonesome. The Pelicans are 13 and 42 on the season. They improved to 9 and 19 at Smoothie King Center at home. Trey Murphy and José Alvarado had 18 points each. Javonte Green and Jeremiah Robinson-Earle scored 16 points apiece for the Pelicans. Zion Williamson did not play in that game. He doesn't play in back-to-backs, whether it's the front end or the back end. He does not play for health reasons. So he was sidelined. Zach LaVine, I think he had his best game as a King in 6 games right now. He had 32 points, 10 assists, while Malik Monk added 24 points and 9 assists for the Kings, who fall to 28 and 27 on the season. They are now 15 and 14 on the road, and they fall to 15 and 9 under interim coach Doug Christie. LaVine, he had that slingshot going tonight. He made 12 of 24 shots from the floor, 5 of 12 beyond the arc. I think that's his most as far as three-pointers, 5. And the Kings are now, 3 and 3 since he joined the team on February the 5th. Domantas Sabonis, he had a monster game. 22 points, 28 rebounds for the Kings. DeMar DeRozan, 20 points, and Keegan Murray had 13 buckets to round out the starting 5. Okay, with the exception of Keegan Murray, DeRozan, Sabonis, LaVine, and Monk played 42 minutes or more. Doesn't matter because it's all-star break, so they're about to get a break anyway. They had to put it all out there to try to get that last win, and they did. Okay. The Kings, look. Okay, they led 29-28 after the first quarter. I'm not going to get into that. All right. Trey Murphy, he made 2 free throws in the second quarter, and the Kings went on a 15-0 run in that frame. And they did that with defense as well. They had trailed 48-41 at that point, at the 6:57 mark before they went on that run. They led 65-60 at halftime. But what got them back in the game was defense. But for whatever reason, and it was happening in that first quarter too, and a little bit in that second quarter, it was happening all through the game. Okay? It was just one basket, match for this basket, match for this basket, match for this basket. Nobody was trying to stop nobody, not even the Pels. I would have liked to seen a little bit more of that with the Kings. Okay, you got the offense going on. Click it. Can we get a stop here? You're giving these guys confidence. Every time they go down, they know they're going to make a basket. Because in that fourth quarter, and especially in overtime, the Pels were getting stops. The Kings were turning the ball over. The Pels, they getting steals. They getting offensive rebounds. They did what was needed to win that game. But the Kings wasn't playing no defense. And opposed to last night, where when you had to play, especially down in that stretch, and then DeRozan came up, in the clutch, you were getting stops when you needed to get stops. Stop. This stuff got to stop. I mean, I know we got some new personnel. You guys haven't practiced with each other, since this team was reassembled. I understand that. I think the fans understand that. But when you got the game in your hands and you got a chance to win it, because you're all professional, you know how to play basketball, each and every one of you. Can you assert, a little bit on the defensive end, especially when it needed? I like to see the ball go through the basket too. But you have to get stopped, especially in this team, okay? This team is the worst team in the league. Now they won their 13th game, and they also did it by ending their 10-game losing streak against the Kings. Wow. One of the highlights of the game, in regulation, and the Kings were down by 2. I think DeMontis had got fouled. He had got fouled, and let's see, I forget what the score was at that time. Yeah, he made one basket, made it, and they were down 127-125. Well, what happened on the second free throw shot? Malik Monk came out of nowhere and got the offensive rebound. He was fouled by Bruce Brown. He goes to the foul line and he makes both free throws. Monk makes both free throws. The Pelicans come down. Of course, Christian, James, CJ McCollum. He got the ball. He misses a 6-foot floater at the buzzer. The game goes into overtime. And that's when I'm telling you, boom, boom, boom. CJ making 3 after 3 after 3, and he had a bucket in there somewhere too. I think his last, yes. Yes. He made 3 straight threes. And then, let's see. His last bucket was a 2-pointer, which was a scoop shot that, that made it 140-133. So that's the end of the game. That's really all I have to say, on that end. Christian, James, CJ McCollum. That's your man. That's your guy. The man who would have been king. Woo! I am not giving up on the Sacramento Kings. I am not giving up on the Sacramento Kings. I'm not giving up on the Sacramento Kings. Okay. Doug is 1 game over 500. They will have less than 30 games less. 29 games, I believe, left to try to make a move on a playoff spot. But if you continue on this point, it's only going to be a play-in spot. And if you keep playing the way you are on this defensive end, you might not even get the play-in spot. You might not even get that. But that's where you are, because right now you were in the 8th spot, now you fall down to 9th, before February 21st returns, and the Kings will play the Golden State Warriors at Golden One Center on February 21st when they return from the All-Star break. Yeah. Kings had 23 assists in the first half. Okay. Monk had 4 of those dimes, while Trey Lyles, Keegan Murray, and DeRozan, they had 3 helpers each. They ended the game with 38 assists. They ended the game with 38 total assists. And they also had a 19-7 edge in second chance points. But they couldn't pull this out because of Christian James, CJ McCollum. Right on, brother. But I'm not giving up on the Kings. We're going to see what happens, after the stretch. In the interim, I will be attending All-Star weekend activities, not at a high level. The only thing that I'm concerned about, I think they got an HBCU game in Oakland at the old Oracle Arena Saturday night, with all those activities going on, including a slam dunk. I will be for that. And yes, I will be at the game on Sunday, February 16th, the All-Star game on Sunday in San Francisco at the Chase Center. And then I could take a little break from the NBA until, I would say Wednesday. Because that's probably when the team will have the Kings will hold their first practice before they play the next day against the Warriors. Hey, folks, I want to thank you for stopping in and listening to me, talk about this young man. I shouldn't call him a young man. I think he's definitely in his getting to his mid-30s. And I'm talking about Christian James, CJ McCollum. But he's a hell of an athlete. I don't like playing against him. I was just in on one of those Twitter Spaces gathering, and everybody pretty much expressing their feelings or their disdain for CJ McCollum, because they know every time that he plays the Kings, there's going to be some problem some way or somehow. And tonight, it was that. But that's just how it goes. I'm definitely going to support this team. They still got a roll against them. They got a lot of home games in March. Let's see what happens. I do like, the way the team is gelling right now. Once again, Zach LaVine, he had 32 points. So that's his highest output as a King on the offensive end. Looked like, he's getting it together out there in 3-point territory. He was shooting around 19-20% for a few games, but we all know what type of caliber player he is. He is going to pick it up at some point, and he's going to get it rolling. he's going to get it rolling. So, but thank you for stopping in and joining me. I really enjoy trying to share as much information with these digital commentaries from my perspective as much as possible, and I'm gonna keep doing as much as possible. Thank you for coming in, and I will be seeing you soon. Bless you all, and I will be seeing you soon. But as far as this 140-133 New Orleans Pelicans victory over the Sacramento Kings, like one of my favorite broadcasters, television broadcaster would say, Walter Cronkite, that's the way it is. Peace.